Morning, officer.
Maybe this is the pot calling the kettle black. This guy thinks he's a genius and he's a moron.
Good news, everyone.
Y2K! Y2K! Oh no! Think of like the dumbest cave troll that you know.
You looked right at me when you said that.
You're not the dumbest.
Here are the facts as I see them.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for listening. Welcome back to the Bandit Radio Hour. We've been gone for a minute.
Life's been busy.
Dude, life's been so busy. Actually, on the ranch, things went slow for a little bit, but now we're working horses and colts and separating the colts from the moms, and this has been a week. But you're on spring break.
Yeah, I finally survived, the first half of midterms.
Did you go to PC Bay?
No.
Panama City Beach? Get
No.
wild?
I don't think I could survive Panama City Beach at this age. I did it my senior year at UF. Barely lived then. I remember the last day we were there, we were so hungover we couldn't even drink the last day. We sat there and we sat beside the grill and grilled hot dogs, just defeated gentlemen.
I never went to Panama City Beach and lived in Florida my whole life, except for a 3-year stint in Texas. I wasn't in prison. That sounded bad.
It wasn't near as cool as those late night videos you saw when you were a kid, and they're showing the girls gone wild.
Panama.
That's right. It was fun. Yeah, it was a good time, but it was nothing like what I had to envision since I was 14.
One time we did for a buddy's bachelor party, typical small town stuff. He wanted to go out to the ranch shooting all the guns, and we went out to the ranch and shot all of the guns. Got pretty wild. And then we went and stayed at the Lonnie Kai in Fort Myers. Have you ever heard of the Lonnie Kai?
I have been to the Lonnie Kai. I can honestly say I have never stayed the night at the Lonnie Kai.
That's why you didn't need a tetanus shot. And probably some other vaccines.
A good delousing.
So what? I actually guess it's a hotel. It's a quote-unquote resort.
Yeah.
On Fort Myers Beach. And I guess back in the day, it was something awesome, right? Back in the...
Well, probably, but yeah.
Golden era of Florida, the 50s.
It essentially became nothing more than just the only hotel most kids could afford.
That they wouldn't check your ID if you just got a room. And
just became kind of a total...
Drugged in, partied in.
Yeah, because the whole bottom area is nothing but bar scene.
Yeah.
So it's open to people that aren't even a hotel guest and stuff. And they'd have spring break parties, and it's somewhere we'd always go and stop in. We'd start our night bar hopping down Fort Myers Beach. We'd start at the Lonnie Kai.
Yeah. And
you'd get a rum runner with a floater, because then they would give you a rum runner, but then they would put a shot on top of it and dump the shot down your straw. So then your first sip is just a straight shot.
Ew.
And so we would start and go from there. You always started at the Lonnie Kai. You never wanted to be late at the Lonnie Kai.
Well, the Lonnie Kai was our final destination. That was our plan. But we had one problem. We might have legally harvested an alligator. And we had some tail to fry. And we were like, how do we do it? Well, we got the suite at the Lonnie Kai, and we got a fry daddy we can bring. And very intoxicated, made the entire top floor after we battered and soaked in milk and battered gator tail. We fried it in the suite of the Lonnie Kai, and I passed out on the top floor balcony.
I can honestly say that's probably the least most federally wanted thing probably cooked in the Lonnie Kai.
True. I think it was good. I don't know. That was a wild night. I don't know how we ended up getting there in conversation. But anyways, what the hell have you been up to? Oh, you went to a concert.
Oh, yeah.
You saw the Angry Ginger.
Yeah. Yeah, the Richmond, north of Richmond guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was actually really good. I didn't even intend to go. My sister had tickets, and she found out she ended up having to work, and so she sent me a message and was like, "Hey, I've got just these tickets. If you don't use them, they're just gonna go bad." And so yeah, I went down there and saw them, and I couldn't stay the whole time. I was too tired, and so we didn't stay all the way in. But dude, hell of a concert, hell of a just showman, just. Because it wasn't a big... he had the Hertz Arena pretty much packed. And
is that the one in Fort Myers?
Yeah, it's where the Everblades play.
Sure.
And basically, yeah, it was just his band guys that came out earlier on stage, you think is the opening act.
You heard Bluegrass Freebird?
Yeah, basically. But like I said, he didn't even have an opening act. He just had his band members come out early with another guy that's kind of sings along, and that was the opening act in a way. And it was they were awesome.
That's cool.
Very musically talented, and you could play. When he came on, sang song or two, then they all came back out, and you're oh, it's just the band. dude, and then like halfway through his songs, he's talking to him before, like he's still trying to figure out how he got so famous in the first place. You tell you, he's very humble, like
Right.
And somebody from the crowd just yells "Freebird!" and he's kind of like laughs, and he's like, you know what? He's like, we don't play Freebird a whole lot together, but I'm here to play for y'all. So if y'all want to hear Freebird, I guess here's Freebird.
Thank you, Papa Ginger.
And then literally just goes into a badass bluegrass.
He's like a huge dude, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a big guy.
Like, ain't he like 6'6" or something?
Dude, he reminds me of the guy, the redheaded guy from The Walking Dead, who also plays Bull Randleman in Band of Brothers.
Okay, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, that's kind of what he reminds. Like he's like that
giant babyface Nelson.
Yeah, he's like he's built like that, dude, and can just sing. Like there was no like theatrics. It was like just a rug on stage, like the lights and their instruments.
No dancing, just standing there singing.
And they just went up there and played, and it was
the way it should be. Damn it.
Yeah, I was singing that. I was like, yeah, this is exactly why I'm here.
Thank you for like not riding a leather-clad cowboy across the stage.
Yeah, I'm glad you're not like dancing in like skinny jeans and moving around. You're standing there in front of your microphone stand, playing the guitar.
You know, I ate dinner with my dad the other night, and me and him had this conversation. I said, ever since like, I don't know, it was a little bit before I moved to Texas, I started having this disdain for mainstream country music. Like this real, like, you've been lying to me, you bastards. Like, it's a same time Republican Party, country music. It was like tomato. Like, I'm really angry at both of y'all for.
Where were you when the world stopped turning?
9/11, and Toby Keith, and don't get me started on all that. But I told my dad, I was like, probably one of the most mainstream people I cannot help but like, Brad Paisley.
Yeah.
Rips a guitar. I don't know how to play guitar, so I don't know. Maybe
I've never seen much of any of his live stuff, but
I've never seen his live stuff.
I know when Luke Bryan got big, it's like angered me.
I did like him at first. What was his first one? We rode in trucks. I liked that song when it came out when we were in high school.
And he has like some good ones that weren't mainstream, but then every like mainstream song was just like the same sad all repetitive.
It started with me with Blake Shelton, and it was that I called it first album syndrome. Their first album would be a banger, so it would be like nothing but songs they wrote.
Yeah.
Then after that gets big, like their next album's like, this one's got one or two good songs, but the rest kind of suck. And then from there on, which brings me around to Core Blonde. Damn it, I like Inshallah, but I don't like the rest of that damn record. I
like the In Vio. The one for
Vialo.
Yeah, because he's singing it for Ian Tyson, who's also the famous former country singer that died. So it was like his his buddy that got him into country music. Ian Tyson, you'll know his songs. He sings a lot of old, probably from the early 70s and 80s.
Oh, okay.
He's like a bigger old country singer from all that band. So that's his song dedicated to that. And there's one or two others, but yeah, I agree. And I'm like that with a lot of Corpse songs. Some they're either absolute bangers, or there's some you're like, what are you saying about this?
Yeah.
Why did you think that was a good idea?
Why?
Why? How can you write such a great song and then this one's just super very...
For those of y'all, I just kind of jumped into it mid-conversation. Who we're talking about is a guy named Corb Lund. And probably quite a bit of my listeners have heard of him, but if you haven't, he's a damn Canuck, right? He's a part of this Canadian invasion of country music.
His band is called the Hurtin' Albertans.
Yeah. And it's like, dude, there's been over the course of the past 5 to 10 years. Yeah, I know, but there will be bluegrass I hear where I'm like, that's the most beautiful Southern music I've ever heard. Who is it? A bunch of Canucks? What the it's not even Yankees. That's north of Yankees. What is this? And
sorry about your genre.
Dude, it really is. It's like the Dead South. Come on, who sings Short Little Ginger that sounds like he's been smoking 5 packs a day?
I couldn't.
Got Bob Fudge, Henry Coulter Wall.
I didn't think he was actually Canadian, though. I thought he was from the Dakota area.
I think he's Canadian.
Oh, I mean, I'm not saying he's... Dude, nothing surprises me anymore.
No, but anyways, if y'all listen to probably the most unique country singer I've ever heard is Cord Blonde. Just on the subject.
Well, he's a great lyricist.
Yes.
He definitely writes very well.
Guys, we're gonna be fanboys for a minute. Y'all just strap in and hang on. Dude, what? So he's got his first of all, his country music is banging. His what the rode in on the horse I rode in on. You ever heard "Horse I Rode In On"?
Yeah. The horse I rode in on felt none of my pain.
Yeah, it's just a good standard country song. But most of his like sings a lot about war.
Yeah.
And not your typical like I'm an American soldier.
Yeah.
And
it's a lot of like I saw really messed up things, or it's a lot of like from the other side's perspective.
Everyone's dying of dysentery. Like it's like what? You just Arthur Morgan this thing?
You just sang about a truck getting stuck.
Yeah. Like dude, like a surprising amount of it, and I don't know why. There's something so it's gonna sound. There's something so romantic to me about like a Western cowboy singing about Muslim life, like an Arab.
I looked at it a little more. He's singing about World War One.
Yeah, someone rebelling against the Ottomans. Well,
yeah.
Hang on, before we just jump, he came out with a CD or an album recently, and one of the names or one of the songs on there is Inshallah, which is whatever language for God willing. I think it's Arabic. But and it's all about like the whole gist of the song is it's a guy in World War One who's I think he's a Turk. No, he's not a Turk.
No, he's
yes. Just spilled coffee all over myself.
We'll keep it rolling. I'll bring you paper towels.
My pants are so warm right now.
I'm glad my furniture and my floor is brown.
I got to stand up and we got to pause this. No, you're not wiping my crotch. Get your hand off of it, Mercer.
I'm trying to dry my floor
that's what I said before.
It stains. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen.
So, Corb Lund. Yeah, coffee went everywhere. Now I'm shirtless the rest of this podcast. Y'all are welcome. Just imagine it. Mustache, no shirt. Yeah, we're going. But anyways, what was it? Inshallah? Yeah. I think he's fighting against the Turks.
Yes. And he's being led by Lawrence of Arabia, is what he's floating back to.
I didn't catch that.
He says he's like, when Lawrence says we'll win the freedom, Lawrence says will come. That's when it made me click that it was World War One.
Okay, yeah, but he sings about that. He sings in Horse Soldier. It's like just literally a love letter to all the different cavalries throughout history.
No, we could talk about it all night, but anyone out there, do yourself a favor, listen to some Corb Lund songs.
And listen, if you pull up one and you hate it,
go to the next one.
Just go to the next one.
There's a few that are it's either they're hit or miss on.
Also,
and I'm sure some other ones some other people love. But.
Also, student visas.
Yeah.
Student visas is so good. All right. Anyways, enough about like I'm just not gonna have a good transition. Merce might have been right about something, and I might have been wrong about something. NFL conspiracies. The NFL conspiracy. And sports fans out there that are big on like sports history, help me out with this because I'm not going to remember all the details. But this clip I was watching. It wasn't taken from SportsCenter, but it was taken from like an early 2000s sports show. And I'll tell you who hosted it. Do you remember the guy that got famous for being Roseanne's husband, Tom Arnold? He's kind of a short, fat guy with glasses. He was kind of famous in the late... I
was thinking like Dan, like from the actual show.
No, it's not him. So Tom Arnold used to have, it looks like he was hosting a sports show on ESPN where I saw this on like my Twitter feed come from, but it was professionally set up and I watched it. And so this is like early 2000s. And he's talking to two former NFL players. And one of them, I don't know, he could be a running back, he could be a wide receiver, just long, skinny dude.
Sports!
Yeah, it's sports stuff. The other guy, definitely either a lineman or a linebacker, just big, big black fella. And they're sitting there talking, and I can't remember how Tom Arnold brings it up to him, but he goes, so like, when y'all lost y'all's Super Bowl, it was devastating, wasn't it? And he said, yeah, I remember what he said was it was Super Bowl number 3. And it's whenever like the NFL and the AFL
merged.
Yes. Okay. So before that, from what I understand, like the NFL was a big league, but also the AFL was just about as big.
Right.
And after this, the NFL would take over the AFL and it'd all be one big league.
Right.
So this, I'm going to call him the linebacker because I don't know what the hell else to call him. So he's talking. He said, we got within the 20-yard zone like literally 6 different times. And my bad. Let me start back over. He says, yeah, that game was definitely rigged. And Tom Arnold, and this was like real crazy talk in the early 2000s. He goes, how in the world could it be rigged? How many people would you have to pay off? He goes, not that many, just the quarterback. Just the quarterback and like one or two other people, and you got it. And he goes, all right, what's your evidence? Like Tom Arnold goes, what's your evidence of this? He goes, we got within the 20-yard line like 6 times. And he practically hands the ball to the other team, to the Philadelphia Eagles. I think it's the New York Colts at the time. Right. Maybe not New York, but it's not Indianapolis. It's wherever the Colts used to be, I think, versus the Eagles. He goes, hands it off to him like the other team 6 different times. He goes, and we were favored to win like 20-1.
Right.
And we got like blown out. And he goes, it's that night at what was supposed to be our victory party ends up being like our losing party.
Yeah.
He goes, there's our quarterback he must have been a lineman. He's like, that I've been defending the whole night and put my life on the line. He's got like a girl on each hip and he's dancing like he just won the lottery and like partying harder than I've ever seen him party after the worst loss we've ever had.
In the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And he goes like, I'm not a drinking man. Like, I don't like to. He goes, I had 2 sips of champagne that night. And I walked up, grabbed him by the throat, and choke slammed him through a table. And then I left. And I'm like...
Definitely a linebacker.
He definitely had that energy. Not the humble zen of an offensive lineman. But anyways, after I heard that, like I kind of got to thinking about what you said.
Like I don't know that they can guarantee the outcome, but I think they can definitely heavily put it in their favor.
And there's so much money in it.
Yeah, there's like it's all run by Vegas.
I was about to say, like, there's so many different hands in it with a lot of money. Like, there's the NFL corporation.
It was in the NFL's best interest to have the Chiefs and Taylor Swift in the Super Bowl. It set and broke like every rating.
Although you saw that she did not endorse Biden, right?
No, I mean,
she just came out with a statement that said, "Vote for whoever represents you best."
Yeah.
Which I don't get. To be perfectly clear, I'm saying it, so I guess I care a little bit. Give a shit less about Taylor Swift. Like,
well, I'm still not saying that it was like part of like the presidential like campaign thing, but I'm still saying it's weird that Travis Kelce, her boyfriend, is getting money from the climate change stuff to produce a movie. Travis Kelce, a football player that doesn't seem that great, is now a movie director. Like, and then like I'm just saying, it was the NFL rate. Like, it was. There was too many times the Chiefs should not have won a game that they just convened like a flag, like some like the most random oddball play or flag would happen to just be like here, like, so I don't know. And that's what I said. I was like, it's always back to Vegas.
Well, we could get into more like, all right, so some more deeper conspiracies. Who's the boxer that started saying the crazy
Mark
stuff?
Garcia.
Yeah, that fella. If any of y'all are interested, give that a Google. But after you listen to us speculate about it. So what? So this guy is like a lightweight champion?
He's the former, mid or welterweight champion of the world.
Okay.
And then I guess lost his title, and now he's like in in the running up to take it back again.
Right.
So he's like not just some fly-by-night guy. And I don't know if he sounded like maybe he was drunk or he sounded off he's in a Spaces interview with like Andrew Tate and some other ones like talking about. Well, Andrew Tate was kind of talking about like the crap that he's being convicted, like being
how the system is, his claim is how the system is being used to persecute him.
Yeah, for trafficking and stuff like that. And then so this guy then just goes on a tirade.
The champion, the boxing champion, goes on a tirade about how he was forced at
he was held down and forced to watch children being raped.
Yeah.
I might have to bleep that.
Yeah, probably. Whatever. But we'll a lot of stuff along those lines.
And then it was at Bohemian Grove.
And like they ask him, they go, hey, I'll put it in Andrew Tate's favor. He immediately goes, "Where was this?"
Yeah.
Like an almost skeptical.
Like, what? Where?
Yeah, and he goes, "It was in the woods." Yeah. And I'm like, it has the energy. He either has the energy of like, I'll play devil's advocate with myself. I don't want him to be true and right, because I don't want that to happen to anybody. But if it did happen, I'd like it to be reported. So I'd like there to be a witness. In that aspect, I'd like what he's saying to be true.
He's either losing it or he's losing it because of what he went through and witnessed.
I get a little bit of Juicy Smollett energy.
don't catch the reference.
Jussie Smollett, the
Oh,
guy.
yeah. Yeah.
I get a little bit of that, like, I'm having a bad time and maybe I'm coming down. I need a lot of attention.
Yeah, well, he's like poised to like have this national like prize fight. So I don't think that's like where the only part of me is like he's not fallen off of anything. And then the other part that makes me wonder is like a prize fighter. That's like their whole mentality. I don't think would openly admit that somebody was able to hold me down and tie me up. Like that's I don't know. That's the only. Those are like the only like the weird things.
Did he name any names? I know he mentioned Bohemian Grove, but
there's an entire spaces. There's like that minute clip I sent to you, and I wasn't able to like everything's been like now like it's hard to find. Yeah. So I got to do some more deep diving, or like I said, but it was just a odd thing that's going on right now. I think Alex Jones is supposed to like drop a big like his take on like everything.
If I would not, you know. I like operating off of evidence as like, and what evidence have I seen of the elites like participating in anything related to that? So, okay, like we got Jeffrey Epstein. That's a pretty damn big red hot one right there. But also you could say like, well, I don't know if that's satanic or just like intelligence operatives, like getting blackmail on people. Yada. Then you got the Bohemian Grove tape from Alex Jones from back in the 90s. So it's like, all right. That's two key pieces of evidence right there. It's like, what else do we got? Oh, these people the past 80 years have murdered thousands of children so that their friends could make more money.
Did we ever figure out what happened to the kids in Maui? Or has that just been like, we've just never addressed that again?
I mean, if it's like most news, never gets addressed again. But again, that's another one of those things I'd like to see more evidence for. Like I saw some claims and I'm like, those are some interesting claims.
I don't know, I just feel like there's been like a lot more recently, a lot of people saying like there's a lot of like rapey, shady things happening with like the higher ups and stuff. So but then it makes you wonder, is that still just pointing a finger to not see what else is really going on? It's probably so much worse, which then what's worse than peddling children?
En masse?
Yeah.
This took a dark turn, but like I'll say this, I think Dave Smith kind of put it like this once. And it's like, here's the only problem with believing the big claims without some solid evidence to them, and why I stick so hard to like the war stuff, is like it's hard for me to prove, but how much these people have faith in something like Bohemian Grove, even if it is a real thing they all attend to. It's hard for me to put, like, how much are they invested in it? How much is it just like a stupid show? Yada, yada.
I liked how they threw it, like everything going around. They were throwing the quote back or the audio clip of Nixon talking about it when he was there.
A bunch of fags running around in dresses. And I'm
he's like, that is the weirdest place I've ever been to.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, Nixon, you get a point, my boy. Like, I know.
And then you're like, maybe that's why Nixon was impeached.
I've actually heard some interesting things about that. So it's like in my 30s about Nixon's impeachment, how it was like kind of a power grab for the FBI and CIA. But I don't know. I don't know
but
enough
he still took us off the gold standard, so you don't get a free pass.
No, you don't. Nice, not hitting the table. That's all we got to watch the equipment. But no, but like here's my thing with like all that really. When I say the incredible claims, I mean that like literally, like the big claims, like a lot of the Alex Jones stuff. Right. God bless him, was like, I have the documents. So it's like, all right, then show us fucking documents then, and let us. But that now,
which in hindsight, there's weapons of mass destruction. Okay, where?
Well, that's my thing. You can just go based on like what Julian Assange and Edward Snowden leaked.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh. They don't have to worship the devil. They're mass murderers on a scale that's like literally, it's like, don't get me wrong. They're not Hitler, they're not Mao, they're not Stalin yet. But like
or Pol Pot. I've been to Cambodia.
Yeah.
I've seen the skulls.
They didn't stack up that many bodies in that short amount of a time. I'll give those other guys that. They did it rather quickly.
Those are rookie numbers.
But like, dude, when you look at just what they're already planning on, like BlackRock has already gotten the contract for multi-billion-dollar investment on rebuilding Ukraine.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, the country we just paid BlackRock just pretty much subsidized and got paid to bomb the shit out of.
So they got paid to level it. Now they're going to get paid. So they're making it on both sides.
Yeah. And in the meantime, humans get turned into hamburger on both sides.
With drones now.
With drones, with God, yeah. Hey, Redacted, what's up, buddy? We're liking your videos. We got a fan out there, Redacted, and Mercer's telling me, he goes, Redacted sends me some like really wild stuff. Like, just send it to me. Let me see what it is.
And he's like, no. And I was like, all right, here's like 15 videos of just people dying.
Murder, war crime, murder.
We appreciate it, buddy.
We appreciate it. Cool. Soul leaves my body a little bit more every time I see one of those, but cool.
It's that meme of like, it's like the shell shock guy that things fade into. Like, every time I open one of his videos. And,
but like, so don't get me wrong, I like playing with conspiracy theories, but that's why I'm not like too eager to jump, because I'm like, we got all this right here out in the open.
Well, that's what I was saying, like when I sent it to you, I was like, there just seems like to be so many times where things just keep like coming back to the same area.
One more devil's advocate on top of my devil's advocate. Devil squares of advocates. We're talking about devils, but what do you know? Now, I will say this. Operation MK Ultra. What do you know about Operation MK Ultra by the CIA?
Isn't that basically the whole premise of like Call of Duty, Vietnam, whatever that one was, Black Ops?
A little bit. They like dabble with it. So like the real MK.
That's like where you like brainwash somebody, right?
They were attempting to brainwash people and see if they could make covert assassins through stuff
Sleeper
like LSD.
You call somebody and give them a code word, and you're like banana hammock, and then they just go like on a.
There's money in the banana stand, but they anyways, like they really like did experiments that's been declassified in the past like decade or two. They tried LSD, and I love Tom Wood's assessment of this. Like eventually they quit after they like spike random people with LSD, cause people to commit suicide, a whole host of stuff. They quit doing this, not because of like the concern of human life and the bad things they've done. They quit doing it because it's not working.
Yeah, I can see that.
And they're like, all right, we're giving up. We're going. Now, publicly at least, on the records they've declassified, they said. Now, all right, I'm taking over now. We're back in Bandit's theory territory. Now, let's say they didn't stop working on that. And let's not even go like into mind control. But let's say somebody sees some crazy stuff, and they're about to talk about it. Let's say there ain't some mist they can walk by and spray you. It just makes you start acting like a freaking lunatic like Kanye West or this. You notice like when they talk about this stuff, they almost start like physically.
Like losing it?
Yeah, like in this guy, what the hell's his name? The boxer?
Oh, Garcia?
Garcia. It's almost like, and don't get me wrong, I don't believe this. I'm just playing with a theory, but it's like when any of these people are like going public about any of this stuff, everyone's almost like, they look like they're withdrawing from drugs. They look like there's this distressed, wide-eyed look and like extreme paranoia.
Well, it's almost like just a PTSD reaction in a way. Like, because because like I said, if they're saying what they're saying is true, then it's highly traumatic, and for them to even be talking about it is like like I said, and then it's super easy, and like you said, or make them go crazy, then it's super easy to dismiss that person.
Yes.
How easy to just be like, oh, Kanye's crazy.
But he makes such good albums.
But the terrifying part is like, like.
Can't have good rap without white
supremacy.
supremacy.
Anti-Semitism. Take it out. Like if what Kanye says is like really like happened, then that's ruh-roh.
What was the meme I saw when that was happening?
It's like, oh, he's crazy.
The meme I saw was like, he's saying we control everything and are shutting down bank accounts. So let's shut down his bank account and control his life. And it's like, what? Hang on. What? They's whoever you want they to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, my genuine thought is like the dude's probably just going through it, and you can just look at or listen to Noam Chomsky's the U.S. presidents that have broke the Geneva Convention, and it's just like obvious, like it's these people just like by what they admit is like horror. Kosovo, just look up Kosovo. On to other things. All right, so there's a lady. that I used to listen to. No, I didn't even listen to her. I listened
Delilah?
to clips of her. Hey there, Delilah. No, are you talking about the Joy FM?
No, the country, like the lady that would come on late at night on the country station and be like,
Delilah.
This is Delilah.
Country Gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I had to flip through a couple of those old stations in my head.
It'd be like what was coming on the radio. You'd be like coming home from grandma's and your parents are driving and you're like falling asleep and there's just this like lady soft talking on the radio.
Yeah, no, this was a black woman. This is Candace Owens.
Ah.
And let me tell you, dude, I have, I'm 33, question mark? Yeah, 33. I grew up, like, kind of hearing her in my college days, and she was always this, like, I used to be liberal, but now I'm conservative because I have a brain. And so much of it sounded like what I referred to as Conservative Inc., like Conservative Incorporated, which is like this real grifty brand of conservatism or republicanism or any of that. That's just like, it's the guy that's screaming about family values and he gets caught with hookers and meth. Like it's,
I mean, depends on what your family values are.
Do the hookers and meth. Just don't preach the family values to everybody. But anyways, I was like, I always kind of figured she was with that group, and I kind of think she was. But I've seen something fascinating with her. It's kind of like the same thing with Tucker Carlson, but it's just been to a different degree. I have seen her change her thinking and kind of support, at least on face value, why she's changing it. She works for Ben Shapiro's network, Daily Wire.
Yeah.
Who's the other guy? Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh? Yeah. And she's come out pretty heavily against damn Israel. I'm like, ooh, you're working for Ben Shapiro's network and you're coming out hot and heavy against Israel? That's interesting.
Yeah, I can see where that's...
She's been kind of leaning into a little bit sympathetic towards some Kanye preaching.
I mean, I'm not pro just wiping... Well, okay. If you're going to do it, don't half-ass it. I'm just saying...
Palestinians?
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure. If we talk about one of those groups, we don't get in trouble.
Well,
if we talk about the other, we get a lot in trouble.
I'm saying if you go to war, you go to war.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm not saying you like use this as like, oh no, we were attacked as an excuse to just depopulate an entire region.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm kind of like, stop. Maybe stop shooting and bombing people.
Yeah, dude, I watched one the other day, and it wasn't anything like, I mean, it was pretty horrific. It was at least, and I
something redacted said.
It's not something. No, it's not one of those. And who knows? It could be one of these videos that are taken from a certain perspective that are supposed to give someone look more sympathetic than they really are, and someone look more evil than they really are. But what I am seeing is obviously, I'm going to just be really stereotypical through all this, so just everyone get used to it. I see what really looks like an Arabic Muslim guy, and he's standing outside of his mud house. 2-story mud house. God bless him. Looks nice. And he's like kind of screaming and pissed off as a bunch of, let's call them Jewish settlers. And when I say settlers, I don't mean like IDF, like military guys. Like, I mean like yarmulkes and the curly hair and the kind of flowy robes and the heavy beards. Those guys.
Yeah.
There's like 10 of them walking out of his house carrying, I assume it looks like it's his house that he's crying over. And they're like taking out his fridge. They're taking out his stove. They're throwing it all out in the street.
I saw a thing similar where like there's this random guy and he's like living in like this one half of this like Arabic family's house and they hate him and like the news is doing a story on it and they're like, how are you here? He's like, they want you gone. He's like, well, because I guess there's some program that allows like if they like so they set up people like when they find out like the Arabic family like leaves, like if a Jewish person can move in and settle it because like then that family's not allowed back in as long as he continues to squat there. And he was like and I might have horribly butchered that, but that was like this, like the gist I got of it. Like of like, I was like, I can see why there's a lot of angry people.
Oh, like dude, like the cherry on top of this is like as these settlers are walking out with the guy's fridge and like cleaning out his house, like while he's standing there crying, like one of the bigger ones comes up to him and hands him a jug of milk that was in his fridge, and dude, he just loses it and throws it at them, and it's like, and I'm like, dude, I don't know what you're saying, but I know what you're saying.
Right,
And by the way, on the other hand, if that was like some Jew's house and all these Arabs were coming in and taking his crap out, I'd be
I'd
like,
also be equally pissed off.
yeah, I'd be like, the Jews shoot some Arabs. We all have guns. Let's all get settled really quick.
Yeah.
Shoot whoever comes to your house. But no. So Candace Owens has been, let's say, having some dissenting opinions about a lot of that stuff. She had on the great Dave Smith. Listened to them two talk for a couple hours, and they get into some really interesting territory. So you know the concept of, like, I think I've talked about it, and I'm sure if you ever sat in a room with any damn libertarian for 5 seconds, they've brought it up. The concept of blowback, where it's like, if we go and like bomb these people, they might have a reason in a generation to want to blow back against us. Well, they're kind of talking about this thing like cultural blowback. And it's like, it's almost like the idea of whenever they started trying to make the rebel flag illegal, its popularity like went through the roof. Because there was this blowback of people that had never bought rebel flags who were just like, oh, screw you, now I want this.
Right.
And they went down.
It's like telling a kid, like, don't touch it. Like, it's instantly going to touch it.
Yes. And with the growing anti-authoritarianism, it's like, just to stick it to the man, they'll do it.
Which, and then, like, what I always find, like, ironic with the rebel flag is, like, that's still kind of the whole point of the flag.
Rebel. It's in the name. But, no, okay, so, like, that was Candace Owens, like, going down some, like, more nuanced territory that I'm like, oh, your views are starting to sound more consistent.
Yeah.
Anyways, chickadee I'm talking to sends me this. She goes, listen to Smart Black Lady on this, on P. Diddy. I'm like, why do I want to listen to what someone thinks about P. Diddy? Just give it a chance. If you haven't,
listen to a Diddy on Diddy.
Listen to it, a Diddy on a Diddy. And she, like, dude, so check it out. It's like Candace Owens. It should be like one of the first things that pops up. It's just Candace Owens, P. Diddy. So I guess there's a lawsuit against P. Diddy, and she's going through like the details and some of the evidence, like backing it up. And a lot of it has to do with like one of his producers that he kept around. And it sounded like the guy started out as Diddy's friend, but as Diddy like got more powerful and stuff, like it's one of these things like the only way you leave is in a box. Like, oh, I can't stop being his friend.
Yeah.
But like how he shoots up Diddy and another guy allegedly shoot like a guy up in a bathroom because the guy was going to squeal on Diddy about something. And the LA, like, Diddy had people in the LAPD, that incorruptible organization, that was like, oh, we can say he was shot outside and not inside the building in the bathroom. Like, completely, like, just covering up crimes.
I mean, I don't know a whole lot about P. Diddy and stuff, but there's just been like a lot of stuff I've seen like recently on social media where a lot of stuff's painted him not in a good light, and a lot of people are coming out and be like, yeah, Diddy made me do things.
I wonder who he pissed off.
And then, yeah, and then then there's the whole thing on Cat Williams, but being Cat Williams. And then I've heard like rumors in the past that Diddy had Tupac killed, and again, I am way too white.
We don't have dogs in this hunt.
I'm like way too white and uncultured in that entire genre of like anything to know. I just know what I've heard like rustling through social media.
I like the song Rubber Band Man.
Yeah, like, play me Gin and Juice.
Yeah.
Like, by the Gourds.
The bluegrass version. So, anyways, she got into some very deep, and don't get me wrong, like, there's still some views about anybody I listen to I disagree with, but I was like, oh, all right, you've become a lot more based lately. What was the other thing that they were hitting on? Who was the guy I told you to look up before the show?
Oh.
The guy that was like the...
Yeah, I got it right here. The guy
Her talking about the LAPD, I tell you, there's not a police force I've heard more weird stuff around.
It's Christopher Dorner.
Christopher Dorner. If you don't know who this guy is, man, it's crazy. What I saw of the news footage back then, I remember
that would make a good Core Blund song.
Yeah, it would. Yeah. So, dude, all right, if you read an article on it, probably the slant you're going to get if you read any, like, corporate media piece, the story goes he was an ex-veteran, and he was a part of the LAPD, and then he was discharged, and probably due to something along the lines of PTSD, he went crazy and shot a bunch of cops. And they hunted him down to a cabin in the woods and killed him with grenades and fire because they had to.
Well, the one thing I did see that it says his autopsy report was death by self-inflicted gunshot wound. But then also, the little bit of video I also saw that no, they were unloading on the cabin.
Yeah. So, all right, so that's the story. And, you hear that perspective, and this is why Michael Malice does such a good job pointing out how there are times the media is worse than any government there is.
Yeah.
So that was the narrative the media put out. The crazy guy who used to be a cop, used to be a veteran, killed a bunch of cops, then got killed by them. The part they conveniently left out was that the reason he was discharged was because he kept going to his superiors and going like, hey, I'm seeing a lot of cops act horrifically unethically. And one of his examples was his partner they had somebody handcuffed who was like drunk in public or something like that. They had him on the ground, and the guy was so drunk, while he was on his knees, and he was so drunk, from what I'm remembering, he fell over, and Chris's partner said, look at the drunk, and kicked the guy's teeth in while he was just and he goes this is nothing weird about this, everybody's doing this to everybody they can. And his superiors were like, if you keep talking about this, you're going to be fired. Shut up. And he finally got fired, and it was you can go online and you can find what do they write before they kill themselves?
A manifesto.
You read his manifesto. He dude, so much of it is I swore to protect my country from threats internationally and domestic. Foreign, and he goes, this is a domestic, horrific nightmare, and war is on. I'm fighting. And, you read it from that point of view, and it's oh, this is a dude that was I don't know, that might be leaving some stuff out. Maybe he, beat his kids horrifically or something I don't know. Maybe he really is crazy. But, you read, at least the part of it that I read, I'm this sounds like a dude that had ethics in an unethical place, and he snapped.
I can see it. Speaking about unloading the gun and not trying to excuse. But did you see the cop that unloaded on his own squad car because an acorn fell?
Okay, dude, I've seen the memes. I've seen 1,000 memes, and I haven't looked into it.
No, but the scariest part was there was a suspect in custody in the back seat. So and then his partner also unloaded into the car. And then they reloaded and shot again, and the guy was yelling, I'm hit, I'm hit. Was never shot once. He tucked and rolled, and then unloaded into the car, and the suspect could have been a terrible, I don't know what he did. Yeah. But I just picture this guy in the back seat with his handcuff just screaming. They reloaded, I think, dumped 2 mags each into the car, and
America.
And never hit the guy.
America. Dude, man.
And then they weren't even fired. They were recommended for training, and then I think they both disgracefully stepped down.
Once the media got a hold of it.
Yeah, it was just what? He's got a gun! And it turns out he was an acorn.
Well, you saw
on the roof.
You saw the Toasty Protester last week, right? The guy in front of the Israeli embassy that turned into a marshmallow.
Yeah.
Hang on, I gotta say.
That is somebody that got sprayed with a mist of something.
All right. I have so many thoughts on the fella that if you don't know what we're talking about, a U.S. Air Force member walked up to the Israeli embassy, doused himself in gas, lit himself on fire, and screamed, "Free Palestine."
Or I'm not dying for, or something like that. Yeah, something.
Yeah. He said, "I'm not continuing in a genocide against the Palestinians." And then he lit himself on fire and kept screaming, "Free Palestine." Couple of thoughts besides any philosophical ones you may have about it.
Balls.
Okay, the balls. Also, he says it 5 times while he's on fire. You can tell the 5th time he doesn't have lips anymore.
Yeah.
And it's he's not he says it free Palestine, free Palestine, free. He's free Palestine. 5 seconds later, free Palestine. I'm Oh, dude, I would
I would have
have.
been running around screaming.
I've been trying.
Dude, it was like the monk in Vietnam that like lit
Yeah,
himself on
I think
fire,
that's what he was trying
and then
to.
didn't move and just like literally just like
Burned
sat there
to
and
death.
just in like the full like monk position.
What, like, did you see that I can't remember what country is what, but like, so there was 2 foreign guards that came up to him, and the first one I think was like, I might be butchering this a little bit, but I think he was like from the Italian embassy
I
next
couldn't
door.
make myself watch it. I was like, I don't need to see this.
I
I was
don't-
like, I know what happened.
Well, you know, they're like, hey, they run up, like the guy from the Italian embassy or whatever it is, like has his hands open, like the guy from the Israeli embassy draws his pistol, like points it at it might have been the American embassy, I don't know. It's either an American or an Israeli. Pulls their pistol.
Say
and
it a
points,
6th time, I dare you.
like, dude, it's like on one hand, it's like at least shoot him in the head.
Like, put him down. Like,
don't just stand there and go like, I'm gonna keep pointing a pistol. Don't hug me.
yeah. I think if I was on like completely engulfed in flames, I'd be screaming, shoot me.
Doesn't say it once. And like, all right, and again, I think Dave Smith made the most brilliant point. He goes, and as you all know, the war ended hours later. It's like, no, no, it didn't.
Congratulations. Like,
It might be noble of your cause or whatever, but you know, that dude's got like a mom
he
or a
gets to
dad
hell
or
and
a
Satan's like, and you thought that was bad.
no, just nothing but this until you reincarnate. How long? Like the end of time. Once the universe deconstructs and then starts building back together atom by atom, you'll come back. Maybe. Have you ever heard that theory?
Yeah, I don't think that's not one I believe though.
Yeah.
I think once you're there, you're there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't know about afterlife, but I like the idea of I don't know. Also, horrifying idea that since all matter's attracted to each other, that I don't know. I'm too dumb to explain it, but that pretty much slowly.
everything turns to crabs.
Not crabs, lobsters. You fucking jackass.
It's crabs.
Crabs.
Yeah, it's crabs.
Turtles.
No, everything evolves to a crab is like the perfect, like how everything evolves. Like over time, everything, and there's like, that's why there's all these false crabs that aren't technically crabs. It's things that start out as something, but because a crab is so successful at surviving in its environment, everything over time eventually turns slowly into a crab.
I figured it would try to be a horseshoe crab.
Yeah, I don't know. I just know like there's a whole thing you can like read. It's kind of crazy, like where they have all these examples, like all these like completely not even remotely crab-looking things over time.
Crab people?
Yeah.
Crab people. Dog-headed people's cousins. Y'all heard of Anubis?
They're the dog-headed people of the ocean.
Yes. Thoughts on USOs? Unidentified submersible objects.
Dude, I think it's I don't know. The ocean's is terrifyingly huge.
I like, dude, it's dumb. I heard one little reel on this, and I was like, I'm gonna start investigating this through YouTube.
Godzilla's out there somewhere too, but
somewhere. No, that
well, there's been like military reports, like when they've seen UFOs, they've seen them like turn and then just go underwater.
Supposedly, I haven't read it for myself, but enough people have said it. It sounds true. Columbus saw weird stuff underneath the water, like at night.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm seeing lights underneath the water, and this is weird.
Yeah.
But also, my sailors are drunk and trying to screw manatees and calling them mermaids. So.
Well, I've talked to people, like I used to be friends with somebody who used to fly on like one of the AWACS for the Navy, and they were even like, you know, they're in charge of like the radar for like everybody. Like I remember like one time they complained like where are you flying right now? And I was in my crop duster, and I was like I'm in South Carolina. Why? She's like, oh, there's some like over here near Louisiana like that are pissing us off, like pop like because they would disappear and I guess have pop up on radar where they're doing stuff. Basically told me there's stuff out there. Like I know there's stuff out there.
Here's my fun thought experiment, and this is just like, you know, these little logic chains, they don't always lead to like a correct answer, but they're just fun to like kind of play with in my head. So, all right. Would you say a dog is pretty perceptive compared to other animals?
You mean like it can recognize like what's going on like around
it? Yeah, just generally recognize things in the environment, tell what's a bug, tell what's a cow.
Yeah.
All right, so, this is something I was playing with on the back porch the other day. How many animals or living beings do you think there are that dog can't perceive or know about? I'm talking about everything from like squids to, I mean, like, sure, if it went up and under the water in a dog suit and saw a freaking squid, it'd be somewhat aware of. But still, it'd be so far outside of its realm. Like, what percentage?
Oh, like why some dogs like they're scared of like a trash can or something.
Yeah,
like it's something that's like new to them.
So if you had to guess, out of all the beings, and we're just spitballing here, of all the beings in existence, how many of them do you think a dog's aware of?
Dude, it's probably extremely small.
Extra, like,
It's
less than 1%.
Whatever, yeah, it's whatever. It's like in its immediate surroundings.
Yeah, right.
Like, it doesn't know what a koala is.
Right. What about a horse?
A dingo might, but I mean, most Florida dogs know what a horse is.
Yeah.
But.
Well, like a horse is like going through all the other. And don't get me wrong, we're a very special kind of animal. We are. But if you had to go, I didn't turn my phone on silent. I'm an asshole, everybody.
I thought we addressed that on the break.
We did. Then I didn't do it. We talked about it. I didn't do it though. But anyways, so there's much more that they aren't aware of than they are aware of. You could go with that on every animal on the planet, right? What are the odds that we're aware of all the things that are out there?
I think it's
and I'm not even talking about aliens and spaceships.
I think it's that we're more aware of that we know we're not aware. There may be not all of us. I don't think all of us are, but I'm very much aware of. There's a lot of crap I don't know.
No, I get that, but I almost wonder. And here's the thing. It's almost like scientifically trying to prove there's a God. Like what I'm about to talk about, you couldn't really prove one way or the other because we have to rely on our human senses and our like what we're able to measure and sense with either computers or technology or microscopes or telescopes or something along those lines. What if there's just things around us we can't pick up? Like, what if, like, almost
like other dimensional or like there's other like stuff? See,
and it could be things we explain as. I think it was Tesla.
Dude, I still think like the Native Americans like were way more in tune with like stuff and like things that we can't explain. I think as time, like, because I say that, like, think about like stuff our grandparents knew or could do, or like my dad can still do it with like dowsing rods.
Yeah,
I swear
you're talking about finding water.
Yeah, it's like he takes like 2 pieces of copper and he spins it. And then people are like I've Googled it. People
and by the way, I had a college teacher that said that was a urban pseudoscience.
My dad found a lost sprinkler line in the middle of nowhere.
I saw a guy in Texas find our water lines that no one knew where they were.
He's done it multiple times, and every time it freaks me out, and I don't get it, and it makes no sense.
Shut up, boomer! Leave me alone.
Yeah, but like, so you think of like just simple things like that, or then like just like dude, there's I think there's stuff like that we can't explain, or that we've forgotten how to recognize.
And I'm not gonna get like too deep into it, but like I remember in the game Bloodborne, which is like awesome. But like, so while you're walking around in this, it's a real like fantasy world. But as you're walking around, it's almost something like lightning, but like you keep seeing like these waves of like light bending stuff like around you, and it's almost like something you get used to, as if it was like lightning in a thunderstorm.
Right.
As you get through the game and you get smarter, you realize there are giant things all around you, and that's them like drawing energy. But like when you walk through your church, they're hanging on the walls, like watching you, and you just can't perceive them.
It's like that Adventure Time episode where he touches the lamb, and then everything he realizes that all the creepy stuff that's around him.
Okay, I get it's my Adventure Time is broken.
Oh, I will forward that to you after this.
Sure, yeah, and I'll watch that. Like you watched all my videos, asshole. But so one of the things, and I've this keeps coming up, and I know we're getting close, but I want to chew on this for a minute. Something I was super interested in as a kid, mostly because my first name's Josh, and I wanted to read about the book of Joshua, and at 10 years old, I got horrified by the Old Testament, because the book of Joshua is just like, God, who do you want me to kill? And God's like, all of them. Every single thing.
It's a lot smaller list of who do you not.
It's such smaller. It's nothing. It's not a list. Anyways,
you don't even need to write it down.
Josh is so like after Moses leads the Israelites or the Hebrews, whatever they're called at that moment, out of Egypt, and Moses gets really old and Moses dies. Josh takes over. And I'm pretty sure it's during Josh's time, but they come across the Ark of the Covenant, which, if y'all have ever seen the old Indiana Jones movie or any of that, it's the box that, and the Bible goes into great detail to describe what this thing looks like the measurements of the length by the width by the depth. It's got rods on both sides.
Got like two angels like up on it.
Yeah, like pointed at each other with their wings pointed at each other. But you know, one of the more fascinating things is the Bible really goes into detail, and you can look it up. Like the people that carry this, they have to wear certain things. They have to wear like it's certain boots, and on their chest, they have to have certain gold and jewel plated armor that covers like their chest and their stomach. I think it's Graham Hancock who pointed this out. Who's like the guy that looks a lot into the Younger Dryas stuff and ancient humans and stuff like that, being a lot more advanced than we think. He says, if I was holding a box of radiation and I wanted to protect my important organs, I would put gold that like reflects the radiation over them. And like what they say is in the Ark of the Covenant. By the way, the Hebrews, like according to them, would walk around with it, and anytime like some giant army threatened them, they're just like, get the box. And they open the box, and the other army is horrifically killed. Like they're like, God's wrath is upon them.
Yeah.
They are no more. God's wrath gets back in the box. And then it's like, and if I'm remembering this right, please, but by the way, I haven't said this part in a while. If I say the whole reason I started this podcast was so I could like figure stuff out for the most part. Y'all are my soundboard. You got anything to correct me on any of this?
I'm sure we have butchered some stuff tonight.
I'm sure. Please shoot it my way on Twitter or messages or Instagram or something and correct it. I'm always down. But anyways, I'm pretty sure like they lose the ark several times. And like if you read the history of the Old Testament, like God's relationship with those people was like, I love you, I'll help you out with everything. Oh, y'all are kind of shitty. I'm going to make y'all lose everything, including the Ark of the Covenant.
The love is conditional.
It really, dude, Old Testament, it's very like conditional. Assyrians are going to do everything they want to y'all's people.
Yeah.
But anyways, I don't know. I just really think there's so many, and here's the thing, there are things from back then that are made up. Like there is just humans trying to explain the world around them with their limited perceptions. But man, when I get digging back into stuff like the Ark of the Covenant, I'm like, I don't think y'all are pulling this out of your ass.
Yeah.
I think even other, and this one I might be reaching too far with this. I want to say it's even recorded in some of the other cultures, like the Babylonians, or someone's like, hey, the Jews got this box that messed people up.
Well, I saw a thing about like the Bible and like really it's like almost like insane on like how many different things cross reference. And have you seen like the graph where things cross reference back to things that it's like it's huge on how it like it's like cross referenced by tons of other texts scattered throughout, which I always thought was like insane. You
know what I'd love for someone to do? You know how like...
But I also do think that it's like, you remember the game where like everybody says like you whisper something in somebody's ear and
telephone
whisper to somebody else, and it's I'm sure some stuff has been...
I'm sure. But like, you know what would be a great project that I've never heard of anybody doing? So you know like there's the, for lack of a better term, the Vatican Bible. You know, the Bible, the Vatican Church.
Right.
But then there was the Eastern Orthodox Church, right? Like that became for what I always knew as the Russian wizards. Yeah. The guys with the shazas and the holy smoke grenades that they carry.
I got on one of those boats in when I was in Crabbin in Alaska.
Yeah,
I was Russian Eastern Orthodox.
Yeah,
and like it was weird. It was like you couldn't go in like the galley because like the kitchen had been blessed by the rabbi, and he was like, if you're ever hungry, like it's not because I'm trying to be cheap. I will make you anything. It's like it's just part of my religion.
You can't come in here.
You can't come into the kitchen and like because like
segregation now.
Yeah,
segregation forever.
Like, it was like wild.
I don't have rats.
Yeah, we didn't leave until like I think we left on Sunday. We couldn't leave on Saturday because that was like their day, wherever. He was like, he's like, we're out there on a Saturday. He's like, we just put down anchor and we don't work. And it was like, okay. But yeah, no, it was like wild.
So, that's funny. But like, you know, I'm sure there's discrepancies between like those two holy books. I'm sure they don't say the same thing. No. But you know, there's also, you ever heard of the Ethiopian Hebrews?
No.
Dude, And it's like, according to my very southern, very white mother, like according to her, I always grew up hearing this, like, so there was like okay, I'm really like butchering this from Sunday school Protestant learnings. So there was like the 12 tribes of Israel, right? In the Old Testament. And one of them is like, one of them goes south. One of them goes to Africa. And like, they just, well, like, dude, there is a church in Ethiopia that descends from Hebrews, and they have like one of the oldest Bibles in the world still preserved in their church in Ethiopia. Like they have a monk that sits out, but it's in like old, it's not Aramaic, which is what Jesus spoke, but it's something really
like
close.
Mesopotamian or whatever they were speaking at that time.
But dude, like one of the things I found fascinating is, I've told you about the Book of Enoch, where he's like, hey, time to trip everybody and learn about what angels taught us. Whereas that's removed from our Bible because the Catholic Church decided to take it out. In their Bible, it's right in there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there needs to be a super smart person, not I, who sits down with those 3 books
and be like, this says this, but here it says this, but here it says this.
And so let's try to make a common thread of all this, because that's what I kind of tend to think is that's the mishmash. There's some truth in all of that, and maybe you can do a Venn diagram of what's actually going on.
Right. That'd be wild.
So yeah, Bible talk with the Bandit. Let me think. We got everything I wanted to tonight, except Cat Williams, but he's he's a character. He's something else. We might get on it. We might get on that next time. But anyways, everybody, we gotta get
name Slickback.
It is, dude. That was good. If you have not watched the Boondocks, and whoever is doing this on YouTube, there's some brave soul that is just live streaming consistent Boondocks episodes nonstop. Because I think if they just put out a clip, like they'll get copyrighted and taken off.
It's just Uncle Ruckus. Dude,
there's so much Uncle Ruckus. Anyways, guys, that's it. Follow us on Twitter, Bandit Radio Hour. Instagram, Merce is always dicking around on there. See y'all next time. Bada bow.